I am the K5 Blazer guy, and you're in Blazerville.
So what I use is called kitty hair. People that do body work, they know this product real well. You can get it at a paint body shop. Wherever they make paint for automobiles, you can get this stuff. It's fiberglass, long strand reinforced body filler. It's pretty toxic, very strong, very structurally strong. And you get a little tube of hardener with it. And it only takes a tiny little bit, I'll show you. And I just get some of these popsicle sticks, mix it up in a little cup. Other thing you might need is a mask. That's very controversial. I mean, mask, no mask, to mask, not to mask. A little story about it. I just went to Florida to see my brother for the weekend. I got to the airport, took my mask off, was talking to my wife on the phone. This 30-something-year-old with a cat in a carrier with a little pop-out window, looks at me and says, "Can you put your mask on?" I said, "Who are you, the mask police?" And she just looked at me and didn't know what to think. I kept talking. Looked over again. I said, "If you don't feel safe, you might want to move your cat." She got up and moved. So people don't want to talk about the mask, but I'm not a masker. Anyway, you might want to go ahead and get you some 80-120 sandpaper. I use that with my electric sander for sanding down. Start with the 80 and finish with the 120. If I'm doing a big area that might have some holes, it might end up porous in the end, I sand it down, it's still got holes in it, I don't repatch it with the kitty hair. I take and use this putty. Dolphin putty, same place. Get it at the body shop where they sell paint, and this will fill in the little holes, air pockets that dry open. So you fill in with that, resand down a little bit. We'll go over that. So again, what I did is I took a yellow marker and just circled the areas that I need to work on so that I know I don't miss that. And if you didn't see in the previous video, when you hold this up to the light, that's how you can see the holes. So if there's cracks, hold it up to the sun, you'll see all the little cracks or little holes that you can't see in the shade. I did leave out something, just painter's tape, regular painter's tape. That's what we use to tape over the back of these holes. And again, I've marked these because I might fill the wrong one. These are close together. So that's a bolt hole for installation. So I've marked these and we're only gonna fill those. So we sticker tape off the back side lightly, doesn't have to be pressed down real hard. The inside of this is not gonna matter, no one's gonna see that. Doesn't really matter what this side ends up looking like. But now I've got these holes ready to fill. I've blown these out and degreased them and cleaned them a little bit. You could even scrape them a little bit if you want to get a little bit more adhesion with the fiberglass. So I'm gonna do the same thing on this. This is a little tricky because we're down in a hole here. So I want to tape on the inside because I'm not going to be able to sand down that hole very well. So I don't want a lot of product up top. I want the product on the bottom. That way I've got a nice area that I can sand back down, and then we'll re-drill that mounting hole right there. You guys might ask me where I get these little grease pens. These are bowling pens, come out of a pro shop. It's a Brunswick brand, but they probably have these at any art store. Again, on the kitty hair, this stuff is strong. It doesn't take much, and you could use JB Weld. You don't have to use this. JB Weld worked fine on these little holes. It's a little harder to sand. I don't really like the texture of it, but for bigger cracks and bigger holes, this is much better to use. Yeah, the work time on this is like 4 or 5 minutes. So once you mix it, you need to be ready. You need to have your stuff taped and ready because you're gonna have like 5 minutes. It's gonna turn hard as a rock. I didn't talk about the cost on this, but I believe this little jar of 3 pounds, it's about 35 to 40 bucks. Lasts for a long time because you don't use much. So you can find it online. You probably even order it online. You don't even have to go to a paint store. You can probably get it on Amazon or whatever. So now we got that open. I'll spread out a little towel because if you get the stuff anywhere, it's not gonna be pretty. So I just take the little cup and it's already a little cup, but I just cut it down, make it easier for me to get down in there with a little popsicle stick. Well, you want to put your mask on now if you don't like breathing this stuff. This is a optional mask video. So that's way too much. Let that fall off. That's probably plenty. So I don't know, just got enough to cover the popsicle stick. Mine's getting a little old too. Might be time to get some more. I'm down to the bottom on this. Anyway, I'm gonna cover that back up real quick. Just a little, to keep that from getting me high. So I don't know if you can see, but that's what I got. And I got 2 holes, 4 holes, and a little bit bigger one. These holes take nothing. The trick is just to move fast with this stuff. So here's my hardener. I'll just show you. I'm gonna take just like a toothpaste amount on a small toothbrush, about like that. That's all I'm gonna use. And it's already thick to begin with. So we're just gonna mix that up and just agitate it. I like agitating. I'm an agitator. And there's nothing scientific about this. There's no right way to do it. Just follow the directions on the can. I guess first time I did this, it hardened up on me real quick and I was like, wow, that didn't take long. So with that being said, I'm gonna mash it down here real good. It kind of turns purple. When it comes out as black, when you put the hardener in it, you can't see because of the sun, but it turns a little purple. That's how you know it's mixed up. So I'm just gonna take this and drop some on there, drop some on there, and then I'm gonna just finish it with my finger. Just kind of press it around. It's hard to get this stuff off with a sander, so you don't even want to start with a whole bunch because it takes a long time to sand it down. So just don't use too much material, you'll be fine. You got an electric sander, it's no big deal, but if you're gonna sand this by hand, it'd become a pain in the butt. So there, that's done. So now we'll take and let's just drop this over here, right here. Let's go ahead and fill this on the bottom. It's been drilled out. Somebody drilled a little hole in there. So mash it down in there. I got a little too much product on here, but it'll sand off. So there's no secret to it. You just put it on there and press it in the hole. And then you come back and we're gonna get the front, and we gotta be careful we don't set that down on that wet. So I got a little bit left here. Got a few more minutes. And we're gonna plug these just like that. Take the excess off there, just kind of build it up. It's getting hard real quick. The bottom, I kind of touched it a little bit, but it's fine. So I could just sit this like that to dry. Dry time on this is very quick, so you could be sanding on this in, you could be sanding on this in 10 minutes from now. So this is not the best light here, but you can see this is hard as a rock, these little fiberglass pieces. So this is a little Black & Decker high-speed vibration sander. I don't use the right words, but it's not orbital. I know that it's not orbital. It might be just, I don't know what you call it, but. Start with this is Gator sandpaper, 80. We're just gonna sand it down, try to get it flush and get all the high spots out of it. So I just keep on checking it with my fingers to see how much more I've got to go. This is an area where you might want to wear a mask. It's such a little job. I'm outdoors. Stuff's flying everywhere, so I'm not going to worry about masks. I did get a little on the top edge here, so I'm going to take that down. So I took my compressor and blew it off, and you can kind of see it's pretty flush, but the holes that we had were about that size right there. So I want to get a little bit more off. This is where you might want to go down to the 120, so you're not taking up so much material. So we're going to switch out to 120, sand it down. So now it's pretty flush. I've taken down more material. You could actually just go ahead and take the tape off the back at this point. Now you can actually see the little hole that we patched on that one. This one has more surface, needs to be taken down. So we're gonna take this one down, that one's fine. Texture will cover that up. Again, I'm taking compressed air to get all the debris off so you can see where you're at, and we can see that hole there too where we plugged that hole and that hole. If you take it down anymore, it might become unstable and the fiberglass might come out of the hole, or you might start getting light through there. There could be an air pocket. Let's get it down to where it's nice and smooth, no air pocket, looks good. Next step. Next step would be to hand sand this down a little bit more if you want to. But right here it doesn't matter because we're gonna put that texture on the whole console. So that's gonna basically diminish any type of blemishes here. There's no need to really hand sand it. If it was in an area that was really visible on top, or the lid, if you had to do a hole in the lid, then I would want to sand it down real close. But here you see we've got this globbed up here on the corner on the mounting hole. I've gone back to the 80 sandpaper, so we're going to knock this down, sand that down, and on the inside, just go ahead and take off the tape, see how that looks. Pretty much, you've got a nice place to drill a new hole. The other hole did not get filled, so you may want to fill that in. Now I'm just gonna check it with my fingers, feel the high side. Got a little high side here. Just try to get it back to what it was, what it did look like. Again, I took my compressor and I blew that off to get all the debris away so I can really see what's going on here. And we pretty much got everything down like we want it. This is on the bottom of the console. It doesn't have to look that great. There's some little air pockets in here, but you're never gonna see that. So I'm pretty much just gonna leave that alone. I might hand sand it just a little bit, just to smooth it out with some 120. But all the edges are round back here like this, and the front's pretty square. And I've got all the other debris, or I should say all the other fiberglass off of the surrounding area. So it'll look nice and uniform. Again, you see me feeling it a lot. I'm doing more with my fingers than I do with my eyes. And that's ready to, it's ready to re-clean. Once you get done doing this, you gotta go through the first step again, which is degrease and prep for paint. So I just did the first degrease and prep just so I can see what I'm working with, get all the rust and dirt out of the way. And then once I do this, I'm gonna spray it down and clean it again. Before I do that, I'm gonna drill my hole and fill that little tiny hole there with JB Weld. The inside, this is where the cup holder sits. So you're not gonna see any of this. So it really doesn't matter what these look like on the inside. They're filled, and that's all we need to do with that. This is done, ready to be prepped for drilling and then painted. Good time to even test fit, just to make sure that you don't have any areas that you put a little too much fiberglass filler on that will cause the console to not set back down. Again, this sits over the outside, so you come up this way and drop it in, and there you go. Your holes are filled. You can't see the back holes, and we're ready to move to the next step. So this last little step is actually going to be kind of delicate because I don't want to put much product down in there. I don't want a lot of material. I can't sand in that hole very well. It's in a corner. So I just want to fill that little hole. This is perfect for that, this JB Weld. It doesn't dry very quickly. And if you look, you can see that I have sanded away some of the texture on the top part of the console, and that's okay. That's why we're going to retexture the whole thing right now. So while I'm waiting for the other one to dry, I've completely prepped this one. It's all clean. It's ready to go. Set it in here and start putting the texture on it. So I ended up with taking a little Dremel, little grinder, and grinding that down there flat in the hole in the bottom where we're going to drill the new hole. Well, that's going to wrap it up for patching. We'll do some big giant holes another time, maybe some giant cracks, maybe actually take two pieces of console top and glue them together. Anyway, that's the stuff. Kitty here, made by Evercoat and JB Weld. Follow me on @K5BlazerGuy on social media, YouTube. The eBay store is K5_BlazerGuy, I believe. But you can correct me on that if I'm wrong. But you can do this. If you just want to restore consoles, I've given you all the steps in the other videos. Comment, like below, and please subscribe. Keep on trucking.